we're going to start with just using an index.html and a JavaScript -game.js file. And I'm using Notepad++, but you can use just regular Notepad. The thing is, you want to make sure these file extensions are correct when you save the file. So no using Word documents or anything like that. And yeah, so instead of writing all this out, I am going to go to my GitHub page here, and we're going to just copy this HTML file. And I'm going to put it straight into there, into my Notepad. So this part's, I guess, less important, I feel, to making the game. You know, you have a HTML file, you do a lot of the same stuff. I'm going to put a title here called game title here. You can change that to whatever your game is going to be called. And I'm using kind of a library for this Google API, Ajax, jQuery. So that's going to help, you know, with some of the JavaScript functions. And this is using a canvas. So I just threw this in here. This is kind of like a, you know, typical way of using canvas, just my canvas. And then the actual JavaScript that we're using, or we're going to edit, is this JavaScript-game.js. And you want these two documents to be in the same folder wherever you put them, so that it actually calls the right JS file. So that's the index. I'm going to save that, and I already saved as somewhere in my computer. And so now we can get started on the JavaScript file. And for this, let me see here. What was I going to do? Yep, going to start with, yeah, just making a window on load. And these are keywords that work with the browser. All right, so I'm going to have a closing bracket. And since we're using the canvas, I'm going to have it constant canvas. Just make it simple. Document, we're using jQuery, so query selector. And this is, we call it my canvas. So if you wanted to call that canvas something other than my canvas, you could do that. And if you wanted a different variable name here, you could do that as well. You'll see I'm going to use that in just a second. So var, we're going to take the width first and make these equal to each other. All right, and then here is the keyword. The inner width of the actual browser is going to be window.innerWidth, and we're saving that to the canvas and well, to a variable. And we can do the same thing for the height as well. So I'm going to do that real quick. Equals canvas height. Why not? I'll just copy and paste this. Oops. Okay. And yeah, then we'll want to give this canvas a name. We're going to make it in 2 dimensions. So I haven't ever experimented with anything other than this, so I'm guessing that means that there's going to be, or is a 3D, or maybe a 1D. But yeah, we're going to use 2D. And let's see, we want the fill. We're going to fill the whole thing. Let's see, RGB we're just going to make it black, which is just 0, 0, 0. All right, and then last part here, we're going to fill a rectangle, rect, and start from the very top, which is 0, 0, top left, to the bottom right, which will be just the same as the end width and height. Okay, so with that, it's going to fill the window with this color here, which is just black. All right. So now we're going to make a class here for each of the different points that we want to make on the map. So we're going to make it, call it just point. And this is a class, so it needs a constructor. And we're going to make this pretty basic. Just going to have give it a different access. Let's give it a type. Give it an action. You know, maybe some things for later on down the line. Even items. You know, this game could have different types of points for different kinds of items, or different types of objects that we want in the map. And one way of then saving the different variables that we have is using this dot and then the name that you want. So it could be the same name as the what's in the constructor here, or what's passed to the constructor. So we'll see a little bit of that in a second. But first I'm going to write all these names. So we got type, we got action, after action we have name, and we have item. I think I'm only going to use the name for this tutorial. But as you can see, you can have all different kinds of things. All right, and we're going to start with let's just start with 2. Let's have some grass. Have a new point. Let's say we want it so you can go on the grass. So access, let's say it's 1. 1 means go. And I'm going to say the type is 1. Well, let's say it has no action, so none. Give it a name, it's grass. Oops. And for the last part, item, yeah, these have no item, it's just grass. Okay. And let's make the other one water. So let's say you're not going to be able to go on top of water, so that's going to be 0. None. Grass. And none. So this gives us options later on. Like we have maybe plans in the future that we want, to use items and actions, and have different types of these. So they might have some small variations. Gives you some options. Let me see here. After that, I think we're going to make a matrix for the map. So let's call this map 1. And not that. This means map 1 equals a array. So that's the beginning of a matrix. That's like lots of different things put into a group, or a lot of the same thing put into a group. That's a little bit hard to understand until you see it in action. So you're going to get through this quickly. and then show you what it actually is doing. So let's say we want each row to be 30. And yeah, I'm gonna have it do that. Okay, so map 1, and for each part of this, we're going to put an array inside of it. So an array within an array is a matrix. So map is going to be have a column and have some height to it. And I'll show you what the column looks like. So we're gonna do this with that at the end, and we're just gonna fill it with grass. So grass, 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 grass. I'm gonna give it 5. Okay. So, well, I'm just gonna make this go a little quicker. Instead of that, we're gonna have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay. So it's gonna be, this is gonna be 40 grasses lengthwise, and then it's gonna do 30 rows of that using this for loop. So in the end, that makes a kind of grid, and with values inside of it, and this is technically a matrix. I'm sure you guys know about that, or have heard about that at least. And so that's filled with grass. Now we actually want to use that, right? So I'm going to make some more variables here. Oops. I'm just going to say variables. Just copy some of these from a different file. Let you see them, talk about them a little bit. Where are they? For map position, here we go. So I'm going to have a variable for the gaps that I want in certain areas. And this character size is going to come later, but I threw it in there. So we're going to break the map into tiles. And I'm saying the tile size I want right now is just 25 pixels by 25 pixels. Well, this refers to how many tiles we want for the height, and then X tiles is how much we want for the length. And we could put that up in this map area for, like, if we wanted to. But it comes in handy having a constant variable that you can change at the top, and you don't have to change throughout the rest of the code. So that's what I did here a little bit. Okay. All right. So I'm going to save a little bit of time and do some copying and pasting. So first here we're going to have the green block and the blue block. Green refers to the grass, and right now we only have grass. So we're not using the blue block yet, but you can always add that. And then we're going to want to build the map, so we need another function. So these functions that you see, you can call within the main code, which is going to be on this window.onload. So we're going to have a build map function that searches through each of the tiles, or each of the tiles in the map, and then paints them the right color, or puts the right picture on top of them. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, so if it's water, it's just going to be blue block. If it's grass, just green block. And we're going to see how that works. And then because we called that build map, you have to call that in this area down here. So build map, we called it CTX, we called it map1. Okay, so that'll send this to this function here, and then I called that map with a little underscore. Okay, so that should call here, and this uses the fill rectangle again, fill style. There's actually a way of just using the name of some colors, like green and blue. They have to be more common colors, generally. So yeah, so the rest of this should be good to go, and I'm going to save that and demonstrate it. When we try that out, it now shows a screen here, the canvas, that has all these green blocks put together. And inside of this, now we can change the map to have all kinds of different things. Whatever we can make, art for, we can put the pictures on the right tiles in this this canvas. If you look at the GitHub page, you can see that there is the index.html JavaScript game.js. I also have some tree pics, and I'm going to show you how you can put these into the file real quick and do some copying and pasting. The code I have on GitHub, which should be linked to this, should be able to play the game. So if there's any mistakes that were made or it's not compiling, you should be able to take it off of GitHub and make it work. Okay, so if we add in this tree, first we're going to need to call the pictures. So I'm going to copy all those in. And to do this with the images, you need the file path and the image name. And then, well, you need to give it a variable name that's equal to a new image, and then make that source equal to the file path name. And do that with all the pictures that you want to use. So just copy that in real quick. And the way that this is structured, we need points for each one of those new pictures. So I'm going to just throw that in there. I made it so that you couldn't walk on top of those for later on in the game. And yeah, I gave them all names. And because they all have names, I'm able to reference those names later on. So the next part is I put those into the map. And to do that, after I created the map, which was all grass, then I kind of wrote on top of that and put trees, or these different tree parts in different locations. So I figured it out, and I found a way of doing it that actually looks like a tree with the trunk at the bottom. And I wanted to make this repeatable, so I used a variable for the top left corner of the tree, and then all the different parts stemming from that, I just added 1 or 2 or 3 to indicate where it is relative to the beginning spot, which is right here. So this way, I could make a function later on and add trees in whatever spot I wanted it to be. And just to move quickly, I'm going to copy all the parts of the tree into the build map. And so each one of these parts has its own condition. I'm going to save that and then show you what it looks like. When I refresh the page, you can see that now it has a tree right in the middle. And we could add different trees around here, and using the same concept, add all kinds of different graphics.